way that you can do it is you can actually do Command A if your command is an Apple. So Command A as a command for selecting all for an Apple computer, or you can do Control A if you're on a PC. So basically Command A or Control A is select all. So it's selecting all the images here. So either you're clicking the first one, holding Shift and clicking the last one, or you are doing Command A for Apple or Control A for PC to select all. I would personally say just do Command A or Control A because it's just a lot faster. So now I can see they're all highlighted. Again, I'm in my collection that I want to export for an assignment submission. Um, and I will go ahead and then select all the images by doing Command A or Control A. Then I'll go to export and I can then again see that I have export 7 files already ready set up, and I'm going to export those files. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to create a preset. Once you have the preset, all you have to do is go to this preset, which will end up here, and you can just go straight to that. All you have to do is just change the name of it, and then you can go ahead and put it to the right folder that you need to go to. So here, I'm going to go ahead and just click under these Lightroom presets. You should have one. I'm just going to go ahead and go to Export to DNG. You can click these squares here, but just click the word. They're going to do two different things. I just want you to highlight the word. So once I click Export to DNG, the text, it's going to highlight blue, and that's what we want. So we're going to change some things here. Export to, if anything is closed down, just open that up. In export to, I want you to choose folder later. That's already defaulted, so keep it there. There's other options, but I would recommend just choose folder later so that the folder that we choose or create is the last step. So then from there, after you selected an export location, export to, choose folder later, we're going to go to file naming. And we're going to click rename to. So what I want you to do in rename to, once you check that, again, if you don't check it, it's grayed out. If you check it, it's active. Go ahead and check rename to, and then go to custom name sequence. Once you've got custom name sequence selected, you're going to go ahead and add your custom text. So if this is for a certain assignment, let's say it's for shutter speed or your other in-class assignment, or for project one, so on and so forth, go ahead and just put your first name for me, just because that's a little bit easier. If you want to be a little bit more formal, you can put your last name, but I'm just going to say, please put your first name, so because I know you all on first name basis. If you have the same name as someone, go ahead and put your last initial there, or you can write out your full first and last name if you want to. So whatever way you want to do that is fine. And then go ahead and put an underscore there, because you don't ever want to make file names that have just like a space in between or like a dash. I always like underscores because otherwise the file name could be like corrupt or something. So you always want to make sure that you don't have spaces. You actually use your spaces as underscores. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and call it like my first name underscore shutter speed, or I could call it project one, whatever you like, whatever is the assignment or project for that week. So this is something you'll always want to change. You can keep your first name and underscore there, but you just want to go ahead and name it like this part is the part that will change every time. And then also on top of that, like just make sure that it's all connected. You don't want any spaces again. So if you do want a space, make sure you have that underscore there. And the start number is 1, so I always leave that way so that basically my images are going to export as cat underscore shutter speed 1, and then we'll have same file name with number 2, so on and so forth. Then for file settings, we're going to go ahead to image format, and we're going to go ahead and change that to JPEG because I want JPEGs. So please make sure that's JPEG. And then this is set as a default, and I am fine with the settings. So quality 60 is fine, sRGB is fine as well. So we'll just keep that at that. Next is image sizing. Go ahead and check resize to fit, and make sure that the when you check resize to fit, this drop down, go to long edge, and 1000 pixels is good there. Resolution for turning in your images. Eventually, I'll give you like the go ahead to give me a larger resolution image, but for most assignments, pretty much all assignments, you'll be giving me 72 resolution. So this is meant for JPEGs and small images for the web. So resize to fit, check that, long edge 1000 pixels, resolution 72 pixels per inch. Make sure it's a JPEG. And then also really important, I need you to include all metadata. So up to you if you want to include this sort of information. It's already checked to remove it, so just leave it like that. All metadata is what I need. That's how I'm able to see when you took your images, when you, like what your settings were, if your photos were on manual mode, etc. If I don't have access to that, I will have you re-export them so I can see that information. So make sure all metadata is selected. Before we hit export, I'm going to go ahead and go to add. So now I'm going to make this a preset, and we're going to call this MCC preset. So again, all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go to add over here before I go to export so I can show you how to do this. Go to add after you created what I just showed you, and let's just call this MCC export. And it's going to go into the folder user presets because that's the only one available, and we're going to create it. So now it's here. And then let me just show you, I already created the preset, so I can just, you can keep yours up right now. I'm just going to cancel out. When I go to export, like let's say I do project 1 and I select all my images, I go to export. Now I've got this preset already made, which I'm going to highlight by clicking the text, and it's already ready to go. The only thing that I want to change at the end here is just the shutter speed to align it with project 1. So that's the only thing you're changing every single time, is just this ending of your custom text. So I'm going to cancel out here. I'm going to go back to my shutter speed and grab all these images by Command A or Control A if you're on a PC. I'm going to go to export. Now we've got a preset already made. I'm going to click that. And then this is the part that you would change if you need to, the bottom end part here. Change that for whatever assignment or project you have and give that the custom name so it doesn't remake the same exports. And all of this will stay the same. We've got choose folder later, we've got the custom name sequence, start number 1, we've got JPEG, sRGB, quality 60, resize to fit is checked, long edge 1000 pixels, resolution is 72. Most importantly, metadata is showing here, all metadata. Now I'm going to go to export, and because we selected choose folder later, our option to choose folder later will pop up here. Just remember, you're always going to your hard drive. So even if you're on a PC, you're going to locate your, in your, whatever pops up here, you're going to locate your hard drive. So that's mine right here. And I'm going to go through these steps. So I'm going to go into my LR folder, and I'm going to go into, actually, I'm going to stay right here. So I've clicked my LR folder. If you need to double click into that, do what you need to get into your LR folder. And then we're going to make a new folder in our LR folder here. So I'm going to make a new folder, and I'm going to call that exports. If you've already done that, that's fine. Like, let's say we've already done this in class, then just, you don't need to make another new folder. So I'm going to go ahead and call that exports and create it. I'm also going to make another new folder inside my LR folder here, and I'm going to call it discussions, so that you have one for your exports for like your major projects, and then you have one for your discussions. Again, if we've already, oops, I just did that wrong. And I can't undo that. Oopsies. Just kidding. Okay, so just be careful. This is a real live, basically of me doing things wrong on here. So that's actually great for you to see. I got a little bit ahead of myself because I was trying to get through this here, but I put it in the wrong spot. So make sure when you are doing it, you're selecting the right folder. I put a folder inside exports because my exports was selected, and I made a folder in there. Instead, make sure you are in the LR folder, and I'm going to go ahead and go new folder again. This should drop into just my main folders there. That's how it should look. So you should have in your LR folder, you should have a discussions folder, and you should have an exports folder. So for your discussions, you can put all the images that you're going to put for your discussions and Canvas in here. For your projects, you can put your project images in there. And sorry, I have that extra one lingering here. So I'm just going to drop this as a discussion. And basically what I will do, and I'll go through that one more time. You'll go to export, and then you'll go through all these settings. This is the one part at the end that you'll change every time if you need to. Then when you go to export, you'll get this pop-up window. You'll want to navigate to your hard drive. Then you go to LR. You need to make the folders that you need to make if you want to, but I'm fine with just 2 drops for either your exports or your discussions. Certainly in exports here, you could make another new folder called project 1 or project 2, etc. And I did drop it into the right spot this time. But let's just say we're going to put discussions. So I'm just going to drop it into there, and I'll just go ahead and hit open. Now it's going to export my 7 files. And now you can see that it already showed. If you can't see that, you can go back into your hard drive, and you can go ahead and go to your LR folder, and you can see your exports, and you can also see your discussions. So these are my JPEG images that I just exported, and from here you could upload these to Canvas, or you could also put them into, like, for an assignment to turn that in. So I'm going to go through one more example before I'm done here, which is I'm going to go back here and just give you an example of submitting a project. So whatever, how many images you need for your project, like let's just say, pretend these are a lot more than 4, but I'll go ahead and select my project 1 folder and then do Command A or Control A to select all. I'll go to export. And then again, you want to make sure you select your MCC export preset that we already made so that it's going to have all these settings already saved for you. And you'll go ahead and just make sure you click the text so that it's highlighted in blue. And you should go ahead then and just change this ending here. So now I can call this one project 1. So let's just, as an example for if you were to submit a project, so project 1. Then I'm going to go ahead, everything looks good. I'm going to go to export, and I'm going to go to my hard drive, to my LR folder. Now I'm going to go to exports because I'm submitting an assignment, a project, and I'm going to go to project 1, which I created. You can also make another new folder in exports. Just make sure you didn't do what I did and you put it in the right one. So if, let's say if I were to put another folder in here, it would go over on this side. It would go inside project 1. You want to make sure you're in your export. So if you wanted to make another project folder for any reason, you could go ahead and call that project 2, and it would go ahead and create right here. So it would be in your exports folder. So I'm going to just put it into project 1, and I'm going to open up all my photos in there. Now it's going to export my 4 files. It would be a lot more for you. And you can see, so if I've got a project 1 folder here, all my images are in there. And then if I wanted to submit this to like to Canvas, what I could do, if I wanted to upload like single images, I could do it like that. But if I want to upload the whole folder, you actually have to compress this. So this is a method that I'm actually going to have you do, is to compress your folder so that I can basically download it as a zip file. So for Apple computers, what you would do is you would right click to compress. And just a heads up, this is like only for your major assignments. So any assignments that we have like formal critiques on, like project 1, etc., this is where you would have to submit the project like this. For your discussions, you don't need to do that. So for your discussions, you just drop them and put them into Canvas. So you can pick them and put them into Canvas. But for specific projects that I need you to turn to my files, you can go ahead, or even sometimes discussions too, you may have to just submit the file to me. I will specifically tell you to compress the folder. When I say that, you'll go ahead and go to that folder that you need to compress, right click on it, and you'll go to compress project 1. And what that will do, it's going to create a zip file. This is a zip file that you would then turn into me. So wherever you need to submit your submission, you would go ahead and go into your hard drive and find the zip file, and you would send that to me. And I'll give more details about that when it comes to that point. But also, really quickly, if you're on a PC, what you would do is you would go to right click. There would be something lower that's called send to. So it's just an extra step. You would right click, go to send to, wherever that would be on your PC, and then you would go to compress zipped folder. That's going to do the same thing. It's going to make a zip folder like this, and you would submit that. So it's just an extra step. But those are all the steps for you today. I went kind of quickly into it because it was a lot of material, but I just hope you're able to basically pause if you need to and go back to things if you need to. And again, if you have any questions, you can always let me know. So I'm going to go back to my Lightroom, and then to close down for the day, again, the great thing about Lightroom is that it's going to save everything you do. So at the end of the day, all you have to do is exit out. On Apple computers, that's on the left side. On PCs, that's on the right. So you'll see a big X here if you're on a PC to exit out. For me, I've got an X here on the left. It's going to say, do you really want to quit? I'm going to say yes. And then sometimes when this pops up, which I'm glad it did so you can see it, if this backup catalog pops up, just say skip this time. And you want to skip it every single time. There are preferences that you can do to go ahead and go in there and make it so you never see this. But it's, again, not backing up any of your images, which is a lot of what people think it will do. And it's not doing that. It's just backing up data and really creating a lot more storage on your hard drive, which you don't need. So just skip this time. And I do that all the time. So then once your Lightroom is closed, what you can do is eject your hard drive. And again, my SD card is still lingering. I'm going to go ahead and eject that as well. If you're on a PC, there's like a little triangle here, like an upwards arrow, and you'll click on that and you can eject your SD card and your hard drive that way. Um, Always make sure you're removing it and it says that it's removed, or on an Apple computer, you can see it literally disappear. Then it will be safe for you to take it out. So I'm going to go ahead and right click on my hard drive and I'm going to go to eject, or PCs, you can go to that little arrow and hit eject. And once your PC says it's safe to do that, to remove it, or it's been safely removed, you can then take it out of your computer. You never want to rip your SD card out without safely ejecting it, or your hard drive, because you could lose really important information, or you could corrupt your hard drive or your SD card. So again, right click, eject. It's going to safely remove. It's disappeared, and I can safely then take out my cord from my computer, which I just did now. Same thing with my SD card, right click, eject. Once it disappears, I can safely remove it and put it back into my camera. So that's it for today. I hope you were able to learn some new things. Sorry about the mess ups here. Again, if you have any questions in terms of how to go over things, I will be more than happy to go over that with you.